Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we'll continue with our third section and we're going to finish it today, which is teaching approaches. And today we're going to talk about corrective feedback and common issues in classrooms. But as always, let's start with the quiz, which is about total physical response and communicative language teaching. So what's the sequence that Asher based the total physical response on? So Asher based like his method on a particular sequence. So what was it? What group of people is targeted in total physical response? And what is more important in communicative language teaching? Fluency or accuracy? So they focus on one aspect more than the other. And finally, what type of material is often used in communicative language teaching classrooms? Then let's start. We have corrective feedback. We talked about feedback before, like in negative feedback and negotiation for meaning. So it's like we will elaborate more in that subject. So it's what do we mean by corrective feedback? It's providing feedback to the learner explicitly or implicitly that an utterance is not entirely correct. So we have two forms of feedback, explicit and implicit. Explicit, like it's overtly or clearly, like pointing out an error to students. But implicit means like repeating the student's error but with an intonation that suggests misunderstanding. So like you repeat the same sentence or the same error that the students made, but with intonation like suggests like there's a misunderstanding or like you said something incorrect. We talked about recasts before. So it's rephrasing an incorrect utterance correctly. We have a more complicated like definition of recasts, which is recasts involve the teacher's free formulation of all or part of the student's utterance minus the error. Actually, it's the same meaning as the above definition, but like it's more complicated or more complex. We have an example. So when the student said, I goed at the library yesterday. So the teacher says, oh, so you went to the library yesterday. So she rephrased or he rephrased the same sentence or utterance, but like eliminated the error and says the correct form. So instead of go at, they said went to. We have other forms or types of feedback, like elicitation, such as when the instructor asks students to complete a sentence. And we have clarification requests, like the instructor indicates the student's utterance has not been understood. So the teacher asks the student like to clarify what he just said. So like to let the student understand that others didn't understand what he said. And we have metalinguistic feedback. It's pointing out an utterance is incorrect without providing the correction. Like when the student in the previous slide said that go at, so the teacher would say like go at is incorrect. We don't say that. So it's also a type of feedback. And finally, explicit correction, the instructors providing a correct form. So like the teacher says, like it's not go at, it's went to. So that's explicit correction. We have another term to talk about, which is uptake. So it's the learner's utterance that follows the teacher's feedback and that constitutes a reaction in some way to the teacher's intention to draw the learner's attention to some aspect of the student's initial response. So like when the teacher gives feedback to the student, so how the student or when the students like follow that feedback and like correct the sentence or the utterance, this is what we call uptake. So it's like the utterance that follows the feedback. Then we'll talk about like the issues in classroom. Actually, we'll talk about just one issue. It's like not something that we're most interested in, but we'll talk about input flooding. So input flooding, as the name suggests, it refers to exposing learners to substantial amount of input, for example, or examples of a given linguistic feature. So input flooding, from the name flooding, like it's substantial amount of input. But actually, some people may believe that it's something like good and may lead the learner to master the language. So they carried studies on French students speaking English as a second language and exposed them to sentences with adverbs in English for 2 weeks. So they carried studies on French students speaking English as a second language and exposed them like sentences with adverbs to learn the position of adverb and how to use adverbs in English sentences for 2 whole weeks. But actually, the results suggested that input flooding may not be effective in instances where learners try to apply features of their L1. So the French students learned how to use the adverb, but they continued to put it in the order of the French sentences, like in their L1. So even though they were exposed to the adverb sentences like for 2 weeks, so it was substantial amount of input, they still didn't acquire the order correctly. So the results suggested it may be not effective. As we said before, effective means it affected the thing, so it has effects on it. So that's all in our third section. As I said, it was an easy one. And next time, inshallah, we'll start with our fourth section. Thanks for watching and see you soon, inshallah, in our next video.